Good morning, everyone. It is the first day of August, and I'm getting the feeling that today our tarot reading is going to start leading us into how best to work with the last bit of summer before harvest time. I think that that's the direction we're going in today, and I want to get everyone the message about what we need to accomplish, how we need to prepare for harvest time. Harvest time can mean a lot of things. It can mean, what is going on with work, finalizing projects, how to get the most out of summer, what we can do with relationships. It can mean anything to anyone, but as the summer is drawing to a close in the next month and a half, it is important to take the time to reset, regenerate, get ready for harvesting and for the fall. So that is where we're going to start off today. As I'm shuffling here, please like and subscribe, share this with your friends. Let's find out what we are going to be talking about today, what our tarot guides, spirit guides, ancestors, and the universe wants us to know. They are really working here today. I think that's ready though. All right, so the King of Wands is starting out in reverse. We're going back to that feeling of disappointment that we were talking about yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw all the shuffling I just did, but even with all that shuffling, we still have some of the same cards coming up that we have as we're going through the reading. So let's take a moment here to really focus on this and see what the tarot is telling us. So with the King of Wands in reverse, it's really suggesting that we are a little bit off our game. Maybe we're getting distracted by life. Maybe we're getting distracted by summer. Maybe it's time to rein things in a little bit, because this being off of our game is going to result in some disappointment here. With the the Three of Wands in reverse, it is probably suggesting that although you're disappointed because you've been off your game, it's time to reassess the situation. It's really time to look at what your circumstances are currently and see how you can navigate around those. It's time for some reassessment. You don't want to go boldly into the world and start sort of pushing people around and pushing your weight around. That's also asserted in the King of Wands. And you've got to be aware that sometimes you might be making some mistakes in your planning, and it's time to readdress a situation. Just scale it back a moment to see how you can tweak what your original plan was and move forward after this disappointment has occurred. It probably is having somewhat of an impact on your romantic relationships, and you want to be able to navigate those. The Page of Swords coming up next really does suggest that you want to eliminate some of the emotional binds that you have surrounding the disappointment and your relationships, and think about them. Think about them very carefully. Calculate what outcome you want. You don't want to be too focused on the outcome. You want to, because that is going to create more disappointment. You've got to be focusing on the journey right now, okay? Don't worry about the emotional side of things. Start focusing on what is your outcome supposed to be and how are you going to get there, and proceed through this journey without being too attached to whatever that outcome is. You've got to be flexible here, and that is going to be your path to the Ace of Wands. If you can do this right now, if you can start switching gears and focus on the natural steps to get you where you want to be, you're going to be getting the Ace of Wands thumbs up card, which is the fairy godmother card. And it really does say that things are going to work out well. So for the beginning of August, what we want to do is pull the emotional side of things out of the equation, accept defeat, accept the disappointments, stop focusing so heavily on the outcome, because you want to be focusing on making the journey go well. You want to be focusing on your next steps. This is going to have an impact on your relationships. The Lovers card coming here in the center in reverse is really suggesting that a lot of your energy is probably surrounding your relationships right now and how you are interacting with others. And that makes sense considering where we started out a few weeks ago in our efforts to begin manifesting. I think that everyone is getting hung up on the idea that if we start getting ourselves into that energetic pull of the universe, that we are going to immediately begin seeing results. And you've got to be patient, okay? Everyone's got to be patient and see how we can continue elevating our vibrational state so that we can be at one with the universe and begin manifesting what we want to manifest. This is how it's going to be. Little step by step, focusing on the journey rather than the outcome, and keeping ourselves in a place of a high vibrational state, okay? Which I know we've talked so much about how difficult that can be to do. A lot of our readings have been focusing around how tough it can be to stay in that vibrational state where we are like magnets attracting all the things that we want. Something we got to practice. We are regrowing parts of our brain. We are challenging our brain to exercise new paths, and that is what it's going to take. It's going to take time and practice. So let me go ahead and clear these cards out and see if there's anything else that we should know right now about moving forward through August and preparing for harvest time. August is that time of year where a lot of people have a lot of struggles because they can see the end of summer coming. You know, we've got school. If you've got kids or if you are a student, you're thinking about school starting up in the fall. If that's the case, based on the cards so far, we really do want to get that feeling of excitement about school rather than the dread of having to organize things and buy school supplies and think about all of the classes that we're going to take and how hard it's going to be after we lose our freedom over the summer. Let's get into the focus, the frame of mind that we can be really excited about learning and growing. Okay, that's something that these cards are telling us right now as an example of how you might be preparing for the fall and how you should be looking at August and getting yourself in a place in about a month, month and a half where you're really satisfied. All right, let's take a moment to check these cards out. Okay, now here is a reminder to continue practicing diligently. This is where your focus wants to be. These are the areas that you want to avoid. Your Ace of Pentacles is coming in reverse. That means that something may have gone wrong in terms of an investment or a financial goal. It can also mean that it's time to cut your losses. You don't want to be focusing on that right now. That's going to pull you away and distract you from what you need to be doing, which is just putting in the time and effort little by little. Another thing that's going to get in the way is if you wait too long thinking about how hard the journey has been and focusing on all of the obstacles that you've gone through. You want to take pause for a moment to assess how far you've come and see that you only have a little bit more to go, but you don't want to stay here too long, okay? It's time right now to be focusing on little steps, little by little, every day. Another thing you want to avoid that's going to be pulling you away from this is the daydreaming and fantasizing about having too many options. If you start thinking of all of the things that you wish for, that you want to have happen, how drastically you want your life to be, and that's going to create a void. That's going to create a space of lack. And you're going to end up calling in more lack, more absence of things. So stay out of this place here. It's good to be creative, but you want to also be able to focus on just one thing at a time, okay? This is a one thing at a time card. And then you've got your Ace of Swords in reverse down here. Let me pull these up a little so I know you can see it. The Ace of Swords in reverse is suggesting that you want to be careful not to be abusive or destructive in your relationships. If you're feeling frustrated about this endeavor, you might be attacking some of the people around you verbally. If you're feeling like you have to be the sole focus so that you can achieve what you want, you might be disregarding others and their needs. So these are the ways in which we can be pulled away from our journey. And right now it's time to just keep on going, keep on practicing little by little. You've got to stay in this place. Focus on the gratitude, okay? Pull the energy in so that you can manifest. There's just so much going on in the world right now that can distract us from our goal, which is to achieve what we're intended to be, right? We're achieving connection with the universe. We're spreading love. We're creating love. We're generating love. And this is what we want to be focusing on little by little every single day. So it's small improvements that are going to end up adding up to a lot of big things. So I'm going to clear these cards. Let's pull one more card for today and see what we have in store, or see what is the main goal, the main idea of what we have learned today from tarot. Okay, we've got the Five of Pentacles. This process could be causing some of us to feel isolated and alone because we're trying to do things in a new way. We're trying to focus on ourselves instead of others in terms of healthy boundaries and growth. And we might be feeling sort of like we're in a desolate place because some of the people who we have relied on, some of the institutions we've relied on, might not fully accept the changes that are occurring in us right now. And that can cause isolation, feelings of loneliness, okay? Everything's going to be all right. As with anything else that we experience, this emotion is temporary. And this emotion also relies heavily on our perspective and the way we choose to experience this emotion. So allow this to be and continue focusing on what you want to be focusing on. These little step-by-step goals that get us all closer to manifesting what we intend and creating a full and happy life. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful first day of August.